Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to Card Making Project 574. Today we're going to make, I think, a mini masterpiece. We're going to be using the Anna Griffin crown dies and the Anna Griffin mini fan dies, as well as other items which I will list on my blog, so please be sure to check it out. Please give my video the thumbs up. You can always find more information about any tutorial on my blog, and if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't subscribed, there's a feature at the end of the video where my head will pop up in one of the corners. If you click on it, you will be able to subscribe easily and be notified when new videos are available. So, without further ado, please sit back and have a look at how this gorgeous mini masterpiece all comes together. For today's project, we're going to be using the Anna Griffin 22 clear birthday stamps. Now, this is an older item. If you don't have these, you can easily substitute it. There's some gorgeous stamps in the treasury sets and the collections. We're using the stamp that says, "From morning till night, may your birthday be bright." It's a two-sentence stamp, and we're going to use it for the insert. So if you have to substitute, please do so. It's not, imperative. You can substitute anything that I use in any of the tutorials. It just gives you an idea of how to use things, really. So those are the stamps we're going to use. Then we're going to use the Anna Griffin crown dies. We're going to be using this die here, like a label die. And then we're going to use this die here, a gorgeous ornate label die. We're also going to use this crown die, and then we're also going to use the Anna Griffin mini French fan dies. We're going to use this die here and the ornate and the shadow layer, so both of those. And I know you don't have to write to tell me, I know I haven't cleaned my dies out correctly. So those are the dies and the stamps that we're going to use. We're going to start off with our base card, and it's a 6x6 inch card. And on the cardometer, which for new viewers is something that I've created to give you perspective at home of the size of the card that we're using. So we start off with the largest size, which is 8x8, and then 7x7 inches, and then 6x6 inches, and that's the size that we're going to work with today. It's a 6x6 inch square card, and it's in ivory. Now, I've already gone ahead and used one of my Anna Griffin handmade by stamps on the back and added my name. That basically means, for any new viewers, if you give this card to somebody, the recipient will know who's made it for them. Now, I always add the number of the project on the back of mine. Obviously you don't have to, but that just keeps me in check, so that I know when I've prepped them what the card is for and what number tutorial it is. So the first thing that I'm going to do is use my bone folder to make sure that that crease is nice and sharp. The bone folder I'm using is from the Anna Griffin tool collection set, and it's a very handy, very handy tool, and I try and use it on all of my tutorials, just to make sure that that crease looks nice and professional when the card stands up on the mantelpiece. Now I'm going to use the crease towards the top of the card, and I think I like using it that way, and I think as much as you like seeing the inserts, I think you are going to really like this one. There's not a lot of room for a long message, so you might want to send a nice letter with it if you've got lots to say. So the first thing that I've done is I've cut out a piece of, now believe it or not, this is actually cream cardstock, and you can see the difference, the tone on tone difference. I don't mind that. I know a lot of you like to use, if you're using an ivory, you want to use ivory, but I like the contrast with this on this card. I think it works well. So if you've got lots of different ivories, lots of different creams, mix it up a little bit. Don't worry about not matching everything, because it will work. Once everything's on there, it'll all tone in. So I've cut a piece of cream cardstock, and it's quite light. It's more like paper, is this. It's just from my stash. I've tipped the edge with an ink pad, and it's just a pink ink pad. It could be any ink pad at all, non-specific. And then I've stamped using permanent black ink, because when you see that I've stamped in black, I use permanent black ink. I actually use StazOn. I've stamped 4 times around the edge of the layer that I've cut 1/4 of an inch smaller than the base card. So I've stamped it 4 times, and you'll notice that they're all pointing outwards apart from the top one that's pointing towards me as I've stamped it. So you can see how I've stamped them. I've got this on flat tape, which for new viewers is flat double-sided tape. Some people call it power tape. Some people just call it adhesive tape. So I'm putting that in on flat double-sided tape just through the centre of the card, and I'm pressing that down. Next, I've taken some of the feather papers from Anna Griffin, and I've cut a square that fits between the stamping that I've done on the actual insert, and it's to size between the stamping. I don't want to say to you, oh, I've cut it to a certain size, because your stamping might be different to mine, but it just fits between the stamping. I've got this on flat tape as well, and I'm going to pop that in and then press it down. And already that looks like a very professional and gorgeous insert. But I'm just going to add a little bit more to it, because from the crown dies, I've die cut and embossed the first, I'm going to call it a label die. It's probably got a really fancy name, but I think it's, you know, it's a fancy label. And I've die cut that from ivory cardstock, and I've embossed it. And then I've die cut 4 crowns, and I've die cut them from the feather cardstock. And all I'm going to do, because I've got flat tape on the back of the actual fancy label, I am just simply going to add the 4 crowns around the edge of the label. Now we're going to do this effect on the outside as well, very similar, shall I say, and we're just adding all 4. I'm marrying it up with the design from the label die cut and the crown to the centre, like so. And then I'm going to add the entire ensemble into the centre of the card, like that. And then I can press it down. There was flat tape on the back of the crowns. Now I've gone for a contrasting colours there, and I think that's gorgeous. It is going to work perfectly with the outside. You see what I mean about there's not a lot of room, but you've got enough to put your name and lots of love, etc. But that is just such a pretty idea for an insert. So now we can turn our attention to the outside. I'm using my bone folder again to make sure that crease is nice and sharp. Now we're going to start off a little bit different for the outside. I've cut 4 squares from the Anna Griffin feather papers, and the 4 squares all measure 3 inches. They're all on flat tape, and what I'm going to do is, I've been non-pattern specific here, so I'm not doing anything to marry a pattern up. So because our card base is 6 by 6 inches, I know 4 squares of 3 inches will cover that card front. So this is a good way to use your scraps, and you could use any colours. They're all on flat tape, and I just think it's, you know, something a little bit different to make a quilting background. And I'm all for using our scraps. So I'm just adding these, and look how different that looks already. And last one, there we go. So for a gorgeous background, I've not tried to match the patterns. I've not tried to and put them the right way up. They might be upside down, but it's just for the background. Next, I've die cut from the fans, from the mini French fans. I've die cut 4 ornate layers of the fans and 4 shadow layers for the fans, and I've used Anna's Girl Foil cardstock, and I've used the feather papers, and I've used a contrasting colour. I've used the green. I've got the actual die cut fan on 3D foam at the edge and a little bit of flat tape to the centre, and I'm going to attach the fan onto the shadow layer like so, and then on the back of the actual full shadow layer I've got 3D foam around the edge and flat tape to the centre. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the fan to one of the squares and edge to edge, and then I've die cut the other ones and have them already prepared, just the same as the one that we've just made, and I'm just adding them into our squares like that. There we go. That looks cool already. Next, I have die cut the very ornate layer from the crown dies, and it was this one, and I've cut it in half. So I've die cut it twice and I've cut it in half. Again, I've used the feather papers, and all I've done is I've got 3D foam on the back and flat tape on the front, and I'm simply adding it just between the edges of the fans, because you know I don't always want to see the edges of joins of paper, and I think this is one of those designs where more is more, and hiding just some of the edge, it just works. And so I've just added those 4 over the edges of the fans. So it turns it into a completely different design. It doesn't even look like 4 fans anymore. It looks like a complete die cut. Next, now this is where we're going to do the same as we did for the inside. I've die cut the large label from the crown dies. I've got 3D foam in the centre, and I've got flat tape along the edges. I've also die cut 4 crowns. Now these we're going to do exactly the same as we did for the inside, and I've got flat tape on the back, and I've got a little bit of extra tape on the front of the crown, just so that it's going to stick a little bit more for the front, because we're going to add a little bit more to it. So it's not sitting flat on the front. So we'll just add in those 4 crowns to the edges of the die. And you'll notice I'm doing this away from the card. I'm not doing it on, you know, we're not doing it on there. We're just doing it above it. There we go. And that's the last one. And then, because I've already got 3D foam on the back and on the back of my crowns, I can now add that through the centre of the card and press it down. So you can see how the crowns now cover the other edges of the dies from the previous layer. Next, I've taken 2 flower stickers from the mini favourite flower stickers, and I'm just going to place them either side of the actual gold centre, and then I'm not going to press them down yet. I've got a sentiment from the mini birthday sentiment stickers, and I'm just going to add that in the centre, and that's why I didn't press my flowers down, because I just was a bit unsure where I wanted that sentiment and where the flowers are going to go next to it. So we can pop that in the centre like that and put the flowers around it, and then press it down when we're happy. And then I've got a little, well, large pink bow to go underneath the sentiment, and that is our card finished. How pretty is that? Lots of layers, and it just, the colours, I love the colours because we've used such a full mix of colours. The pink and the gold and the green and the lilac and the blue, it just all works. It's, I want to say it's such a happy card. It's such a spring to summer card. Not the depth of winter like we're in now. Ooh, where it's really chilly and we're waiting for snow. But that's just, you know, I like that. Look at the inside. How pretty is that? And it stands up perfectly. Now, it's definitely a keeper, is this one, and it's going to stand on any mantelpiece, I know that for sure. Please give me the thumbs up if you've enjoyed watching, and check the blog for lots of photos. I shall take lots of close-ups of both inside and outside of the card. And don't forget, click on my face when it appears at the end if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time.